Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and Gusting is one of the most important things in the Pokemon TCG because, it's what you need often to close out games by targeting down your opponent's Pokemon on the bench that give up more prizes or are lower on HP, or whatever. It's something that's very important, and today I want to take a look at all of the Gusting cards that are items in the Pokemon TCG throughout the Pokemon TCG's history. A lot of these are actually in Standard, and also there are some things that are like not exactly Gusting cards. Specifically, they're referred to as I don't know. I guess repulsion cards. I'm not really sure. If anyone actually has a name for this effect, tell me down below in the comment section what you use. Also, sometimes like a rope effect. It's the same effect as what you see on Iron Bundle there as well. But you force your opponents active to the bench where they choose. I do have those on this list. They are different, a little bit in how they work, but I kind of wanted to include them because they function within a similar role. But you obviously have less control. But as we'll take a look at these different cards, they all have downsides. Obviously, the card that does this the best that isn't an item is Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders lets you switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. And this is called a Gust effect, generally by Pokemon TCG players, because of actually the first card here, Gust of Wind, a card printed in the original base set, which is Boss, except it's an item. So this card is obviously very good. And this video is not ranking how powerful they are. Gust of Wind is like definitely the best one here, obviously. At least in a vacuum. I'm actually not sure how good it was in context. I mean, I know it was good, but I don't know exactly how good. But anyways, this is ranking them more on their card design here and whether they're interesting. And I mean, it'll make sense once we get into it. But I will be obviously talking about the power as well. If a card's like overpowered or underpowered, that might be a bit of an issue. But I guess we'll start with the original Gusting card, Gust of Wind, which, again, it's the same as Boss's Orders, except it's an item, or it's like a trainer, but it's an item. So you Gust anything, and it's very good. It's very powerful. Obviously, it's like overpowered. Its design's fine. Obviously, it's kind of shaped the Pokemon TCG. It gave us the terminology of Gusting there. Also has some like weird art. I don't know what's going on with the eye or the eyes of the Weedle here, but anyways, I almost said Caterpie because like both of them like essentially never have good cards. But anyways, I'm gonna put it in B tier here. Obviously, it's good. Obviously, it's overpowered compared to standard, but it's like the baseline, so I'll put it in B tier here. B tier is like a solid card design. And for its time, it was within the realm of balanced, I'd say, because there was some like super broken trainers compared to what we have today. Um, then we have the modern baseline, which is the catcher card. I said they're Gusting, they're item Gusting, but they're called catchers. Originally, I just wanted to rank all the catchers. Um, and if I look up catcher, there are 8 of them, except there's actually not. There's a bug catcher, which obviously isn't what we're looking for here. So there's 7. That's like not enough. So, and there's cards that are like essentially the same that have different names, like, for example, Pokemon Reversal. Wait, that's the right card, right? Yeah, Pokemon Reversal, which is the same as Pokemon Catcher, where on a coin flip, you switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like these cards. These cards are strong. Pokemon Catcher is pretty good in Standard. I'd say it's pretty underrated, but I don't like this. I don't like this card. It's super swingy. It's not super fun. I mean, Gusting on an item obviously is cool. I mean, I'd say most of these cards are relatively fun to play. Like Prime Catcher and Counter Catcher, the 2 in Standard that see the most play, are, I'd say, fun. But these don't feel so fun. They feel bad a lot of the time. I'm honestly going to put them in F tier. I really don't like their design. Um, they're such a powerful effect, and they're just slapped on a coin flip, and they're not a fun effect. I mean, they're fun for you. They're not fun for your opponent, and that means that every time you play it, either one, you flip tails, you feel really bad because you played a card that was theoretically super powerful that didn't do anything, or you flip heads and your opponent feels really bad that you just play this like overpowered card half the time. So it just generally leaves a bad feeling for both players. It is more balanced than Gust of Wind if it, taking into account like standard power levels, but they're not fun. I don't think this is very controversial. If anyone has thinks that they're actually cool cards, leave it down below in the comment section as to why. I don't expect too many people to say that. I mean, as I said, these cards are pretty strong. To be honest, like in standard, Pokemon Catcher is decent, but people don't play it that much because it just feels bad. Feels bad to play with or against. Can be really good if you get lucky, but it's super hit or miss and not in a fun way. Unlike some of the other catcher cards, pretty much all the other ones have like upsides and downsides there. Then I guess I'll talk about the repulsion effects. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what these two cards do here. So I'll cover those at the end. But we have the repel. We have Pokemon Circulator, which I believe are the same card. Yeah, your opponent switches one of their actives with no, they're active with one of their bench Pokemon. Um, yeah, Repel has been in the game a couple times. Circulator, I guess, just once, and then also Escape Rope. Escape Rope's definitely the coolest of them because it's a switch and force switch from your opponent, a repulsion, a rope effect there. Repel and Pokemon Circulator. I'm not sure how good Pokemon Circulator was. I don't think it was very good though. Then Repel obviously is also not very good. These cards are kind of underwhelming. They do something, but we've seen other cards with similar effects, like Escape Rope, like Iron Bundle, which are I don't know. I just they feel better. It's a little hard to describe. I wish I could describe it better, but again, if anyone can like describe it a little better in the comment section, leave that down below. But I mean, like Iron Bundle can do a few more things. You have more options over when you want to use it, and you need to like spend resources to use it, and then like it's not a huge commitment, but it's a little bit of a commitment, and there's just more going on there. These cards are really tame. Really bland here. And Pokemon Digital Pocket, actually, Sabrina is the same as Repel. It feels a lot better because there's a lot more restriction on Gusting, but generally these cards just feel really weak. So I'm going to put them in D tier. They're not horrible cards, but they're like very, very bland and empty, in my opinion, feeling. Then Escape Rope. Escape Rope's really good. Again, this is like not really a Gusting card, but I will put it in S tier. Escape Rope's really fun. You switch, your opponent also switches. And yeah, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say overpowered, but I'd say it's a better Switch. So if it feels more fun than Switch, where your opponent has some things going on, it can be really powerful. It can be a bit of a downside at times as well. Um, but just like a cool card with some interesting things going on. It's not like absurd, but it's a little more interesting than Switch. Switch is like very bland. Not a bad card by any means. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, but ultimately I do like Escape Rope. Um, it's simple. It just does its job really well. It's like a pseudo gusting card from time to time. It's not really played in your deck for that slot though. That's why it feels so much better than Repel in my opinion. Repel is a card that you'd be playing for this pseudo gusting effect. Escape Rope has that as an extra bonus there. So when you can get value out of it for that reason, it feels really nice. But a lot of the time you are just using it as a switch, and it's just like a decently versatile and fun card there. Then we have the next two, Cross Switcher and Custom Catcher. I'm not going to lie, I like one of these cards a lot more than the other. It's like bias. Obviously, this whole list is subjective. But pretty much what they both do is they gust if you play two at the same time. Cross Switcher, you can only play two at the same time. You can't play just one, and then you gust, then you also switch. So it's like Goose Miller, Prime Catcher, or whatever. It's obviously a powerful effect, but you do need to play two at the same time. This card was good in Standard. It was played in some different decks. I remember mostly in Mew VMAX. Where is it? Here is Mew VMAX. It's played in other decks though. It's like kind of cool. You generally played in decks that can kind of search it out as well. I'd say it's like a decently fun card. Like trying to get two, it's a little puzzle to put together, but it's not super exciting. But it does feel better than like what's the card, Pokemon Catcher or Pokemon Reversal, because on average you're getting the same amount of Gust per card, but you know when you're getting it. Like when you play it, you know what you're getting, and it's a card that requires some commitment. It is a little hit or miss. If you just hit one, it's a dead card. On the other hand, Custom Catcher, if you play two, you Gust, you don't get the switch there. So I guess a little weaker there, but not that much. And then if you play one, you can draw until you have three cards in hand, which is a fun little effect. Honestly, it's pretty good. In some situations, you can almost build around it, but like let's be honest, not really. But you could if you want. I mean, Pokemon TCG Live have done that, but yeah, I mean, getting some extra value for playing one is cool. It feels like a card with some interesting options here. It's obviously good as a gusting option, like Cross Switcher, but it has a little more upside there. Lower downside, I guess. Yeah, I'd say like the upside is kind of, getting a little bit of extra draw on this item can be good, but you need a really small hand, so it is pretty situational there. But it just feels a lot better in my opinion. Cross Switcher is a card that feels kind of bland. I mean, the decks that was played and I also didn't love. Um, it's not the decks, but the way it felt in those decks, you feel like it was a little luck based where you needed to draw into it. Same thing with Custom Catcher, but again, there is the downside for a more or like the weaker side of it for a, more even experience. So overall, I'd say Custom Catchers in A tier. I really like it. I want to put in S tier, but it doesn't belong there, unfortunately. The draw until you have three, like half the time you can't even use. And then Cross Switcher, I'll put in B tier as well. I'm not actually ordering the cards within tiers here. But yeah, I mean they're cool enough cards. I think they're fun to see some. I'd like a an interesting, um one when you play one card effect on it. Custom Catchers is fine. I could even see something more interesting, maybe something like a repel effect if you play one. That might be too good, but I don't know. I feel like these cards are pretty cool here, though. But then we move on to the next one, which I guess will be, I'll do Counter Catcher next. Counter Catcher is a card here. Wait a second. War Point, that's also Escape Rope, isn't it? I think it is. I haven't really played with this card, because it's pretty old. But yeah. So this is Escape Rope. So I'll put it in S tier right next to it as well. Right. Yeah. If your opponent has an event, they switch. Then if you do, you also switch there. But Counter Catcher, you gust if you are down on prizes. I really like Counter Catcher. It's obviously very powerful if you're down on prizes. It's just a gusting effect. These other cards just aren't really like that. They're more situational, or they have different things about them. But yeah, I mean it's good. Obviously, it's a card that you want to be playing down on prizes, so it's kind of weird. You're almost coming out to a slower start, and then the games can kind of get bogged down a little. I guess I don't know. I feel like it's cool, especially with like Dust Noir, which we see in some decks. Yeah, why did I click on that? Wait, that doesn't. Oh, it does play Dust Noir. Okay. So Dust Noir has cool effects, Iono, cool interactions. Overall, it's a fun card. It might be a little too strong, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a card I really enjoy. Obviously, being able to gust kind of unconditionally is good. It's really good in control decks. It's almost unconditional gust there. And yeah, it's a fun card. You need to like play with your prize cards as a resource, which is really interesting. It's a card that both players can interact with to some extent. So overall, it's a card I really enjoy. It's relatively simple, but it is really cool. I'm pretty sure one of these is the same. I'm not gonna lie. As I said, I don't really know them very well. Um, how? Yeah. What are these cards? Oh wait, Pokeball is a double play one. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. Pow Hand Extension says you can only use this if you have more, if you're down prizes. Then you either move one energy attached to the defending Pokemon to another of your opponent's Pokemon, or you Gust. You switch from your opponent's bench Pokemon with the defending. It says your opponent chooses the defending Pokemon to switch. That's the active, not the bench. It's some weird wording stuff. As I said, some of these like older cards are kind of wacky here. But anyways, this is like Counter Catcher, but there's like more use cases. I guess it's cool. I'll put in the same tier as Counter Catcher. As I said, I haven't like played with these older cards here. I played with some of them, but certainly not this one that came out in 2004. And then the other one that I missed was Pokeblower Plus. You can play two at the same time. If you play one, you flip a coin. If heads, put one damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If you play two, you gust, right? And this is like the same thing as the other ones. I guess I'll put in A tier as well. Having some other option there. I'd say the other option, I mean, it's like one damage counter half the time, which is like not a lot, right? Let's be honest. But this was an older era, so it's like a little more meaningful than it like seems. And it's a cool card. I definitely like this card design. And having that playing one effect is nice. It's like a really weak play one effect, but I mean it doesn't do something half the time. Same thing with Custom Catcher. I do like Custom Catcher more because you know what you're getting when you play just one. But Pokeball Blower Plus is a is a cool little card here. Also, like, what is this art? Like, what is the art on these cards? Then we have the we'll do the last old one here, I guess, which is a Double Gust. I'm not gonna lie, Double Gust is super awesome. Double Gust is a card I don't know if I played with. Certainly not played when it came out, but if you have any bench, you oh no, wait, yeah, if you have any bench Pokemon, your opponent chooses one and gusts it, then you also gust. So this is, a double gust. It's exactly what it sounds like. You get to gust one of your opponent's Pokemon, they get to gust one of yours, which makes it a lot more disruptive. It's like an escape rope, but with a lot more power, a lot more interesting things going on. You want to make sure you have some way around it, but it's definitely like kind of high risk, high reward. I mean, it's not actually risky. Let's be honest, if you play this, you know what your opponent's going to gust, unless you're in a situation where it doesn't matter, in which case it doesn't matter. So, it's interesting. I really like this card. Yeah, I mean, it's just super cool. Having your opponent have an interesting decision on their turn. It's obviously like Escape Rope, in some sense, but it's like actually a gusting card. It's something that I don't know. It's just so cool. I like it so much because it has this risky situation to it, but you can always gust when you play this. That's like never a question. You could have a switch in your hand to be able to get back into the active. You could have I believe no bench Pokemon. And then yeah, this is like very good, but obviously that's like also risky. So there's a lot of really cool things going on with it. But then we have a few more here. We have Prime Catcher. I haven't talked about it yet. I should probably talk about it now. Prime Catcher here, obviously, it's a Gust, and then you also switch, but it's your ace spec. Prime Catcher is fine. I don't really have too much to say about this card. I'm actually going to put it in C tier. It's a little overpowered. It's not super interesting. I almost want to put it in B, but C tier is kind of empty. I'll put it in. That's not a good reason. I'll put it in B tier, I guess. It's like decent card design. Actually, no. It's too good. Right now, it's not the only ace spec being played by any means, but for a while it was. Um, it's not super interesting. It can be search, so it's not like super random and swingy. But again, I just don't love it with it's just too good, right? Obviously, this unconditional gusting is super powerful. You see double gust having a sometimes substantial downside. I guess Prime Catcher does have the substantial downside of being your only ace spec, which can be really bad depending on what you're playing. I mean, it does hurt you, like stop you from playing another one. But mostly that's what it does. It stops you from playing another one, so then you're not playing these other interesting cards in your deck. And so it has made the number of ace specs you're playing, whether you're gonna see lower. But potentially, obviously there could just be like the next best one being the most played there. But Prime Catcher is a card that's like pretty good, obviously in any deck. Not necessarily the best ace spec, but if you don't have like a particularly powerful one, it's potentially the best there. Certainly that easy discussion there. So it's kind of bland for that reason. And it plays kind of like boss. Obviously, it's not a I was gonna say not once per turn. Like it's not your supporter for the turn, but it is your ace spec for the game. So it's like a similar commitment of using a resource in that sense. They're not the same, but a lot of the ace specs are the power level of supporter. So it's fine, but it's not super special in my opinion. But this is definitely the one I'm most interested in hearing people's thoughts on down below in the comment section. Then we have, I guess I'll do Toy Catcher next, and we'll get to Great Catcher and Mega Catcher at the end. Toy Catcher is actually really interesting, gusting a Pokemon with 50 HP or less remaining. Obviously the issue, so it could gust a Pokemon like the 50 HP Pidgey or something, but those aren't very common. So you're like setting this up with damage counters. It's seen very little competitive play. You're setting it up with something that gets damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon, and you can go ahead and snipe it, or like gust it, and then knock it out. Well, not knock it out. You could trap it, but that seems pretty bad. Gusting can be used for trapping, but here it's not really going to be used for trapping. It's a very unfortunately limited card. It's a really cool card in concept, but it's just not very good. Also, it's targeting down these weaker Pokemon, which makes it better against against single prizers. It helps multi prizers, so I don't really love it. It's like kind of fun conceptually. It's cool. Theming wise, it's fun, but it just kind of misses the mark here. Then we have the last two here, which are Great Catcher. Wait, Great Catcher and Mega Catcher. Mega Catcher, Gust, and Mega Evolution. Also, does anyone know down below in the comment section? And if you do, make sure you say that you found it on an official source, and I can check that out. But Does this work with the new megas? I don't know. Like it expanded, but anyways, it's a gusting on a mega. I think great catcher is gusting on a GX or EX. I don't think EX is forever in the game, at least in standard with this card. But anyways, but you discard 2 cards from your hand. And long story short, Mega Catcher is like not super interesting. It's really limited because Megas just weren't that good. They were certainly all right, but generally they'd be in the active anyways. So, and also these were 2 prize Megas, which are the same number of prizes as the regular EXs. So it kind of misses the mark, unfortunately. It's a cool card, but it just I'll put it in C tier. It's kind of fun theoretically, but in terms of actual execution, it kind of falls off. Like Toy Catcher, Prime Catcher's in this tier because it's kind of boring. The other two just kind of miss the mark on execution, but they have fun concepts. But then Great Catcher here, Gusting a GX is good. There's a lot of GXs. It's not unconditional Gust, but it's mostly unconditional. You discard 2 cards from your hand, but that doesn't feel terrible. Generally, I really like this card. It's not crazy powerful. I mean, it's quite good. It's quite good. Definitely a fun feeling gusting effect. Obviously, looking at it and expanded, it loses some of the interest element to it. But if we had a card like this that gusted any rulebox Pokemon like in standard, I'd really like that card. It definitely feels like it's like the opposite of Toy Catcher. Toy Catcher going after single prizes, probably. This going after these multi prizes feels really nice. It's a card I really enjoy. Just a really nice catcher card here. But tell me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on these cards. If you think they're well designed, badly designed, if I missed the mark on some, what you'd like to see if you'd like to see any of these reprinted. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. I want to shout out Ryan for joining as a YouTube member as well, and you can join that as well. But I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.